Getting straight A's might keep you poor and depressed. So many students I know have spent years studying in the library, attending classes, and surviving off of ramen noodles from the local Kmart, all to get straight A's. Then they go out into the real world and struggle to find a high-paying job. Even if they get one, most people are not fulfilled working as spreadsheet warriors for some company. I recently realized that this was the issue with the default path. A few months ago, I was talking to a creator from the Rise Productive podcast, Dimitri. Before the conversation, I believed money was mostly a matter of trading time for money. But somehow we started talking about how much money Dimitri was making in passive income on his content creation. $8 million. So I asked him, how the heck did he do that? Simple, he said. I gave away free information online while building a personal brand and then sold the implementation. This statement broke everything I thought I knew about succeeding in life. As a kid, I was told to get straight A's so I could go to a good college, so I could get a good job, so I could save enough for retirement and a family and do all the things that I wish I'd done at 20 but couldn't do at 60. I adopted the goal hierarchy of society unconsciously, but I didn't feel that my vision was my own. So now I've started to go from getting straight A's to aiming for B's. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about the 5 reasons that you might want to do the same, because aiming for straight A's in college might keep you poor and depressed. Let's start with who I am not talking to. For anyone looking to become a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer, doctor, engineer, stop watching right now. Those are highly competitive jobs that you do need to work hard for in order to get. But if you're not in that boat, let's go. Firstly, traditional schooling doesn't build the skills necessary to succeed in the digital age. The skills required to succeed in the 1950s and 60s are not the same as the skills required to succeed now. Traditional schooling is built on an industrial era model. It's trying to make us into the perfect factory worker. But as Daniel H. Pink describes in his book Drive, the most important skill now is intrinsic motivation, because learning is becoming essential. In the digital age, there is more heuristic work than ever before, which doesn't have clear processes, requires creativity, and doesn't have clear goals. So people need to have the intrinsic motivation to learn to do those tasks. Contrast this with the industrial era, which had a lot more algorithmic work, which had clear processes, clear goals, and clear procedures. It didn't require as much intrinsic learning. The problem is traditional schooling is trying to help you with algorithmic work, not with heuristic work. Secondly, aiming for straight A's destroys intrinsic motivation. This is the exact thing that we just discussed having to build for the digital age. Getting good grades doesn't incentivize you to learn outside of the class. The only thing incentivizes you to do is spend way too much time studying in the cocktail lounge at Cornell. I'm sorry if I just called you out right then. But in a world changing faster than ever before, it is the intrinsic learners that are gonna succeed. I myself fell for this. When I was a kid, I read so much. Del Toro's Quest, Fablehaven, Harry Potter, everything. But as I got to college, I stopped loving learning as much. Because I wanted to get straight A's, I saw it as wasted time. Thirdly, aiming for straight A's makes you a cookie cutter student. Cookie cutter students are cookie cutter versions of everyone else doing the same things. But as we mentioned earlier, to succeed in the digital age, you need to give your unique perspective to what you're learning and develop an intrinsic love for learning. This isn't gonna happen if you're learning the same thing as everyone else. Clearly, we need to break free from the traditional schooling system. Fourthly, having a degree is no longer as valuable as before. Degrees used to be the secret spice to getting a job because they were rare. According to GetMix's blog, 28.5% of baby boomers have a college degree. But in 2023, 44.4% of adults above 25 have one as well. Having a degree is no longer as valuable an asset because it's not as scarce anymore. Fifthly, aiming for straight A's embeds a scarcity mindset. In many classes, getting good grades requires someone else to get a bad grade. That's because classes are curved, which means your grade is determined by how well other people in the class do. The worse they do, the better you do. This incentivizes students to not cooperate with each other. And I experienced this firsthand. I was at a TA office hours for my statistics class. After I finished with one of my questions, a student tapped me on the shoulder and asked if I could help them with one of their problems. So I did for 30 minutes and afterward turned back to the TA for another question. But then they tapped me on the shoulder again and they said, "Wait a second, are you a TA?" And I was like, "No." And then they said something I will never forget for the rest of my life. "Then why did you help me?" That's the perils of having a scarcity mindset from the traditional schooling system. Now, I'm not saying that a scarcity mindset isn't helpful and if not required in some places, but to succeed in the digital era, I would argue that an abundance mindset is what's going to help you. Because as I'll talk about later, an abundance mindset is what you're gonna need to do the public learning that I believe is going to make you most successful in the digital age. How are we gonna break free from traditional schooling and go down an alternate path? Taking these 5 reasons into account, I'm not striving for straight A's in school anymore. But I'm still at school because there's a lot of things that I love about college. I love the 4+ years of being able to work on myself without having to be too much of an adult. I love that I'm surrounded by other young adults. I love that I have access to tons of clubs. I love the Cornell dining hall food, which is unfairly good. It is no right being that good. So the solution for me is not to leave college. Instead, I'm trying to build a love for learning. Students with a love for learning can make themselves into a category of one. They can build a unique set of skills that combine to make them different from any other student. This gives them much more leverage in the digital age. I know so many students in internships making barely above minimum wage, whereas not trying to ego flex or anything, but I'm literally making thousands of dollars in passive income from creating content online like this because I have made myself into a category of one. I'm not studying to become like every other student. I am building a unique set of skills from the school classes I am taking, from content creation, personal knowledge management, gamification, psychology. All this stuff is coming together to make me completely unique. I created my own college curriculum on the internet. The internet is the new college. The internet is changing the way education is done forever. Because for the first time ever, you can get a superior to university level education online for free. And all you need is an internet connection and a love for learning. You can learn new things online, and with social media, you can showcase your learnings publicly. Social media changes everything because with social media, you can publicly learn what you are learning on the internet and therefore do 2 things for yourself. Firstly, you're gonna learn what you're learning better because you have a place to apply your learnings, the internet, in building your personal brand. Secondly, by building this personal brand online, you're going to build an audience of people inspired by what you're doing that you can potentially monetize in the future. This audience will open doors for you didn't even know existed, either through making money from them or getting job opportunities from them. I literally got my first job opportunity from someone that watched my content, reaching out to me and offering me it. See why having an abundance mindset is so important now? Because it's only people with an abundance mindset that are gonna be able to post their learnings for free online and then sell the implementation. Give away the information for free, sell the implementation. That's the secret sauce of succeeding online. In effect, the public learners add to the new internet college. They add value by giving away content for free, and they get value back by getting to make money off of their audience if their content's good enough. It's a win-win. So what should you do taking this all into account? There are 2 things you're gonna need to do if you wanna become a public learner. First, you're gonna have to fall in love with learning, and secondly, you're gonna have to create a public learning action plan. To fall in love with learning, my best recommendation would be to learn how to take effective notes. Note-taking is the foundation of all your intrinsic learning efforts because it's how you make your learning active. It's how you imbue you your own unique perspective into your learnings. It forms the foundation for public learning because your notes can become the building blocks of the things you create. And it's how you make yourself into a category of one by connecting seemingly disparate ideas together to make something new. Think about it. Why is my content engaging to you? I mean, if you've made it to this part of the video, then I hope that you're engaged, otherwise you would have clicked off by now. It's because I add my own unique perspective. I talk about note-taking and I do it with all these other interests of mine, like gamification, personal knowledge management, obsidian, psychology, cognitive science, spirituality, philosophy. I add all this stuff in to make it completely unique. And then hopefully you like my personality. If you don't, I'm sorry. That would be unfortunate. But all this stuff comes together to make me that engaging to watch. And you can do the same if you learn how to take notes. So for a free option, I recommend you check out my Student Obsidian Roadmap playlist up above. You're gonna learn how to get decent grades in less time so you can actually focus on the things that you want to do in college, like relationships, content creation, and clubs. You're gonna learn how to level up your note-taking and studying in Obsidian so you can do that, and you're gonna learn how to fall back in love with learning. Next, once you're done with that, you're gonna need to learn how to publicly learn. I would suggest that you start with the first action item in this video. But once you begin learning how to take better notes, you're gonna want a medium to apply that in through public learning. And to do that, I suggest you check out my college content creator resource list in the description below. It includes all the resources that I wish I had 3 years ago when starting to create content part-time in school. And doing these two things, it's not gonna be easy, but the nature of school is changing. Are you willing to change alongside it? That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your day. Eat some peanut butter and bye-bye.